Hello, welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger on November 14th, 2021. Well, technically it is Monday, November 15th, but we're not going to get too specific about that. Uh, I actually was about to go to bed, and then I remembered, darn, I forgot about Soul Search Sunday. We did the Super Kitten Sunday and with the elbow strike, and then took a while to get that uploaded. And I fed the kitty cat and uh, had a drink of water and uh, got ready for bed. And then I just realized, oops, I almost forgot about Soul Search Sunday. I don't really know how many of you actually pay attention to Soul Search Sunday. It can't be all that fun looking out into the blackness of the night while listening to a worn out blind martial artist droning on and on about things that might not relate to anyone but himself. But it's a tradition to do Soul Search Sunday, and we have gotten comments, feedback. Some people say they enjoyed it, so mm, it's best to keep it up. A couple of days ago, while Kitten and I were eating lunch, we're talking about childhood and ideologies and upbringings and expectations and things we were taught and not taught, etc., etc. And I made a comment. I said, surprisingly enough, my father has never thought much of what my nanny Maru was trying to instill in me. Now, those of you who watched my Sausage Sunday before uh, would be familiar with Maru. She's the nanny that my family hired to take care of me when I was a child, and in most ways, she's more of a mother to me than even my own biological mother. She went, well, say that she went above and beyond her duty would be an understatement. She went the distance, teaching me math and science and religion and politics and how to read and how to appreciate the world, how to be a decent human being. She taught me about honor. She taught me about trust. She taught me about integrity. She taught me about art and music. She taught me so much that I can say this. If my biological makeup is all my mother and my father, then my intellectual makeup is probably 95% Maru. So I mentioned to Kitten, I said, no, it is kind of surprising that my father never thought much of Maru teaching me about right and wrong and honor and all that stuff. He always said that Maru was trying to fill my head with a lot of useless junk. And Kitten asked me, and Kitten said, well, what do you think? Do you think it was useless junk? Now, in many other relationships, this would be like a rhetorical question. Uh, Like this would be one of those questions that you already know the answer of because it's almost scripted. Yeah, you ask me, well, what do you think? You think it was useless? And I was supposed to say, of course not. I live my life by Maru's teaching. Maru taught me, and without Maru, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Like that would be the generic script. That would be the the more conventional conversation with the more conventional relationship or partnership or friendship. However, when Kitten asked me that, I did take 10 seconds to contemplate her question. Do I think what Maru taught me was really useless or not? Eh, Of course, I had the knee-jerk reaction. I wanted to open my mouth and say, of course not. I think it's all very useful. Honor is very important. It's important to have honor and integrity. Yada, yada, yada. But then I said, you know, I don't think it was useless. But I do think that many of her teaching messed me up when I was growing up. And messed me up after I grew up. I wish that she would have taught me some other side of her uh, perfect world. I wish that she wouldn't be so black and white about her teaching. And this is what I mean. A lot of time, we teach someone right or wrong. We teach someone honor, trust, belief, strength, nobility. We paint a perfect world in which those things work, and those things are the absolute truth and the only truth. A lot of time we learn from the Bible or Buddha or the Prophet Muhammad, whoever is your spiritual guidance. My spiritual guidance has always been Maru. Okay? Whoever is your spiritual guidance, they present to you a set of ideals, a set of codes, a set of philosophies that is unwavering and true and the only way to go. But as good as those intentions are, if you follow them blindly, or if you end up, excuse the term, brainwashed by those perfect pictures, you are setting yourself up for a lot of failures and anguish and disappointment. Today, I'm just going to talk about three things, uh, three instances, three ways in which Maru's teaching ended up being a little counterproductive in my life. The first instance is because Maru believed in being humble. No matter where you are, you should be humble. No matter what you do, you should be humble. You should never acknowledge when someone say you do good work. You should always say, "Oh, no, 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 it's nothing. It's crap. It's just like lousy. I didn't do it that well. It's just nothing." Uh, Whenever someone say you're good looking, and you should say, "Oh, no, 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 I'm so ugly. I don't know what you see. You know, you're just too kind." You're supposed to be humble. That you should never feel good about uh, vanity or pride or uh, uh, achievement. Whatever you achieve, it's not you. Whatever you achieve is given to you by karma and Buddha, and it's fate. Right? If you feel good about it, then karma will come back and bite you on the butt because now you're accumulating bad karma just by feeling proud and arrogant and cocky and all that stuff. So I grew up with that drilled into my head. So for a long time, even up to when I won silver medal for Canada in Tafisa World Championship uh, about 10 years ago. Now let's let's just take a step back and think about this for a second. I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit, but we are going to come back to this topic. I was the first ever Canadian, blind Canadian, to have entered, not just to win, but to have entered into and made it to the Tafisa World Championship for self-defense division. I was the first to ever came home with a medal, of course, since I was the first to ever gotten in. And I did it not just being blind, but being totally blind and partially deaf in 1 year. On top of that, I was probably, to my knowledge, the only Canadian who's ever claimed any kind of a medal or title in using Krav Maga in the Tafisa World Championship. There were other Canadians that claimed titles in Tafisa World Championship before. None of them blind, none of them ever disabled, none of them ever in the style of Krav Maga. So this is to say that what I did, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you look at it, was something to be proud of, something that I should feel ecstatic, something that I should be on cloud nine about, something I should celebrate for the rest of my life. But as some of you have seen the reaction video after the tournament from me, it was just anticlimactic in my head. I didn't really feel anything. All I felt was, oh well, now that's done. What's next? Because I have gotten so accustomed to not feeling good about my own accomplishments that even something like that, something so momentous in my life, I was unable to feel it. So Maru's teaching about being humble ended up turning me away from being able to feel proud in the works I do. Second, Maru's teaching has always centered on you always turn the other cheek. No matter what the other person do to you, if they cheat you, if they beat you, if they trick you, if they hurt you, it's all part of karma. It's all for your own good. Either they do it so you can learn a lesson, or they do it because you did something bad to them in your previous life. So no matter what the reason, right, you are not supposed to feel negative about it. You're always supposed to be thankful that you learned a lesson or you balanced a previous bad karma. You're always supposed to feel thankful. As a result of that, um, when I was growing up, I felt a lot of guilt around feeling negative feelings, anger, sadness, uh, bitter, um, hatred, anything like that. I felt extremely guilty for displaying those negative emotions. So I said to myself, maybe I'm not saintly enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not noble enough to not feel them. But at least I can do is not show them when I feel them. This resulted in me being very bad at displaying outward reaction to uh, at first negative things, and then as a result to that, I start to not display joy, not display happiness or uh, uh, surprise or anguish or stuff like that very well. I start to be a little bit like a closed book as I go through life. And it wasn't until within the previous 5 years, well, honestly, not until I met Kitten that I started to be more outward. In my best friend Harvey's own word, it's almost like I finally come out of my shell, and I just seem to have more spirit overall. But previous to that, for most of my life, I've been very, very elusive, very closed off to the world from an emotional state because of Maru's teaching. Third, Maru taught me that uh, being faithful, being trustworthy, be dependable, and never waver, being steadfast is the only way to be a good human being. Now that on the surface may sound like a great idea, but she did not tell me that there is always a limit. She did not tell me that there's a bottom line. She, the way she taught me was that no matter what, no matter how bad things get, if you made a promise, you keep that promise. If you made an agreement, you keep that agreement. If you made a partnership, you keep that partnership. That idea, that philosophy totally messed me up inside when my previous relationship ended. When, after 18 years, I realized that this relationship was killing me slowly on the inside, and if I didn't end it, then I would ruin my own spirituality. I would be ruined on an emotional level, maybe too much so to ever recover after long enough. I was starting to feel dead inside. I was starting to feel that nothing in this world mattered. I was starting to feel that I was ready for next life. Not that I was suicidal, wasn't that bad yet, but there were many times during that previous relationship where I said in my head, I said, well, whoever is out there, God, Buddha, whatever, if you're ready for me to go, I am ready. I'm tired of this. I'm ready to go. I've said this so many times, it was scary. This is how bad things got in that previous relationship on an emotional level. But I held on. I held on for that long because Maru taught me to be a quitter would be wrong. To be a quitter would be dishonorable, would be uh, shameful. When I finally let it go, I went through almost a year of self loathing, self doubt, hating myself, feeling disgusted about myself. How could it be that I was so weak that I couldn't keep going? I mean, after all, it was just a bad relationship. It wasn't like I was being physically abused or anything. How could I have been so weak? That was what's going through my head day in and day out for the first year. I wasn't feeling bad because of the ending of the relationship itself. I was feeling bad for letting Maru down. I was feeling bad for letting myself down and realized that I was not as noble and as amazing as Maru thought I was. I was not as uh, implacable, indomitable. I was not as determined as I thought I was. So many of these noble, honorable teachings, when presented as the only way to do things, will have unforeseen consequences on our psyche or the psyche of our children. Because no matter what we think, Mother Nature, the world, or the power that is, always have other things planned and maybe always think 10, 20 steps ahead of us. We can be as honorable as we want to be. But if the world suddenly end and the apocalypse happen, you never know. Maybe being honorable is not such a good way to survive. Now, this is not to say that want to throw Maru's teaching out the window. This is not to say that I want to say that Maru's teaching were crap and useless, but this is me saying that maybe we can take a step back and relax a little bit about the expectation, the nobility, the honor, and actually say, you know what, Johnny, you are great. You did great during the tournament. You are a fantastic martial artist. So it is okay to feel good about it. It is okay to feel proud about it. And you know what? There has been a lot of people who unfairly treated you. There has been a lot of circumstances that were not of your making. And it is okay to be mad. It is okay to be sad once in a while. It is okay to cry. It is okay to throw a pillow across the room. No problem. That does not make you a bad person. And you know what? When you have tried and tried and tried, and things just is not going to be good for you or go in the direction that you thought it was going to go, you know what? It is okay to walk away. It is okay to quit. That does not make you a bad person. In the end, it is okay.